Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dear Kevin. So today we're talking about one of my screenplays. This one is Almost Pets, animated film I shot. I wish I shot it. I don't know how you shoot an animated film, but I guess you animate it and shoot one picture at a time. Anyway, I wrote an animated film. In addition to going in Kevin Smith's order, I promise I know how to speak. In addition to going in order in Kevin Smith's filmography, the idea was to go in order with my filmography as well. However, I fucked up. I realized that I wrote this, Almost Pets, before I wrote the last script I talked about, Asinine. I just forgot about it because it's a script I love and I'm proud of the idea, but I don't read it very often because I'm an adult and I don't write children's films and I don't know about animation, and it was very tough for me to write this without using, swear words, if nothing else. So I kind of forgot to mention this one. So, as I said, it's an animated film. Took me a little over 2 months to write. Began it in November of 2008. Finished it January of 2009. It's a pretty long script for an animated film. Again, it's got a lot of dialogue, way too much, especially for an animated film. This draft is 124 pages. So that'd be a 2-hour animated children's film, which, if you're making a Miyazaki movie, is fine. But this is supposed to be, a Pixar movie, Disney movie, DreamWorks kind of movie, with the celebrity voices and the cute animals, and probably not best to have it be 2 hours long. Of all the scripts I've written, this is the one I want to sell the most. I think it's the easiest to sell because it's such a commercial idea. It's the one I have the least, investment with. I'm proud of it. I like the story, but I don't know how to do this properly. I'm not an animator. I'm not a children's storyteller. I've created a bunch of fun characters and an excellent scenario, but this would be the one I would most readily say yes and completely relinquish control from. Just go ahead, take it. It's fine. Please make it better, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So, Almost Pets is an animated film, children's film, about a group of, it's about a pet shop. It takes place in a pet shop, pet store. The main characters of this movie are the animals who nobody wants to buy, hence the title, they're Almost Pets. So, there's a cat in the store who's one of the main characters. His name is Codger, because I'm clever. He's an old cat. And I don't know if you've ever been to a certain pet stores or certain animal shelters. There are certain cats, usually cats, they just kind of hang out. The store owns that cat. Nobody ever wants it. They're usually very old, and they just they hang out there. That's what this cat is. He's been there for so long without anyone adopting him that he doesn't even have a cage. He just kind of hangs out, and he's kind of the mascot of the store. And the movie opens up with a puppy being not abandoned, but some things happened, and he got separated from his mother and his siblings, and this little puppy was found by the pet store owner, and the puppy's brought into the store because maybe the owner feels he can give it a good home, or put up signs saying, hey, I found your puppy, it's at the store. So this new puppy meets the old cat, and that's your introduction to the world, and the old cat tells him what the idea is. And the idea is to get everybody a home, to get them out of this, pet store and have them with people who love them and want to treat them well and play with them and all that good stuff. Kids, essentially. So the main characters of this movie are animals that nobody wants to buy. So, for example, there's a songbird who has a horrible voice. There's the world's only not cute rabbit. There's a snake that's a vegetarian, so the kids are like, oh man, a snake, that's badass. Let me feed it rats. And on the sign, there's a little sign in the tank that says sorry, this snake only eats snake food. It refuses to eat live animals. That kind of thing. The animals that nobody else really wants. The animals that don't sell, that have been there for far too long. So Codger, the cat, makes his rounds every morning, kind of like a prison warden or a matron type of thing, and he tries to, give pep talks to the animals to make them seem cooler or more hip or more likable or whatever it is, to try and make them seem like, come by me kind of a thing. So the snake, for example, is friends with a rat that's not in the store, just an actual rat that hangs out in the city and comes in to hang out every once in a while. So the rat pretends to pretends to play dead so that kids can come by and see the snake holding the rat in its mouth, and the kids will be like, oh my god, a snake! We want to buy that, Mom! And they run off, and the snake's like, Puh! Oh my god, yuck! When's the last time you took a bath? And the rat's like, it was no picnic for me either, pal. Really silly jokes like that. It's a very cutesy idea. In the end, the old cat, of course, gets a home, gets adopted. In the end, the little puppy is reunited with its family, but decides to stay at the pet store to try and kind of take over for Codger and help the other animals that can't get homes, go around, give them pep talks, and teach the new animals coming in how to be as appealing as possible and how to get kids to notice them, how to get people to like them. that kind of thing. I'm trying to. There's other jokes, like there's a parrot that is afraid of heights, so it never wants to. You can't put its cage up and admire it. It's too busy hanging out on the ground of its cage, refusing to fly. That kind of thing. There's a lot more characters like that. It's a big cast, plenty of room for celebrity voices and good jokes. I think the idea is incredibly, like I said, commercial and very cute, and there's some sad backstory. It's very Pixar, Toy Story in general. Written before Toy Story 3, I believe. Written, like I said, back in like 2009. So I wasn't trying to steal too much from any one Pixar movie. It was just an idea I had about what about the animals at the pet store that nobody wants, the animals that have been there for weeks, months, years, maybe. Don't those animals deserve a home? That kind of a thing. So that's the idea. There are some human characters as well. It's a very fast read, despite the fact that it's a little long for a kids movie, because it's got a lot of short scenes and it's got so many characters and it's very joke heavy, very joke oriented. So if you want to read it, it'd be an easy one to read. It's very cutesy, it's very uplifting. By the end of it, you're just kind of having fun. There's a lot of pop culture references in there. Like I think I have a moment where like a spider bites a kid in the store. It's like, God, I'm not gonna buy that spider. It bit me. And then like in the background later on, you see that kid swinging. Hey, he became Spider-Man. Shit like that. It's got a lot of like pop culture jokes in it. There's no vulgarity in it. There's nothing sexual in it. I tried my damnedest to write a kids film, and as you can see from just watching this video, I can't go 5 fucking minutes without saying a swear word. So it was really hard to write. I've talked to a lot of people about all my screenplays, whether they're professors or people I've met in the industry, small production company type people. People seem to agree this is the one that should be the easiest to sell. And whoever, if I ever get an agent or whatever, they'd have to say going in like, this is very rough. It's very first draft. It's just the idea. There's some good dialogue in there. The characters are all very strong, but this is so not ready to be made. It needs to be handed over to animators who can really bring it to life. I like it a lot. Like I said, I haven't read it in quite some time, but I'm really proud of it because it's such a departure for me. That's something that I never consciously made a decision like the next script I write is going to be completely different from the other scripts I've written. I've just always been interested in other movies, so I didn't want to write the same things over and over again. It's not like I made a conscious choice to like, I'm going to write a high school movie and then I'm going to write this movie and that movie, but I've always been interested in various genres, so I'm proud of this one because I think it shows that I can stretch a little bit and not just write a bunch of, filthy fucking swear words or guns blowing up or whatever. So, like I said, the script I finished before this would have been Empty Cookie or Fathers and Sons, so very dialogue driven, very kitschy, very fun, a lot of emotion, particularly in Fathers and Sons. Big, broad characters, very adult. Like, that movie's kind of like a novel. Then I wrote this, which is very much a cartoon and loving and for kids and very warm and, silly humor, but still clever. Like, I'm not saying I wrote a stupid movie. This is a good story. You will like it. It's just I have issues with it because I'm such a fan of children's films, good ones, and I know I didn't write a very good children's film. This is still better than most of the dreck that you'll find on, like, the Disney Channel or whatever. And then after this, after Almost Pets, the next thing I wrote was Asinine, which is a very violent, very funny gangster crime comedy. So, I'm proud of Almost Pets because I'm proud of the fact that I found the idea and I actually saw it through to its execution. I actually finished it, which I think a lot of people, particularly people in creative fields, when they have an idea that doesn't fit the norm, they won't do it. Because it's like, well, I don't know how to do that. What if I don't know how to write a children's film, for example? And I did. I wrote it. I'm proud of it. A few people that have read it said it's really cute and they liked it a lot. And they agree that, like, it needs to be polished a lot. And I could do that if I really tried. If I could really knuckle down and try and like write a few other drafts and make notes and changes. But it's honestly the kind of thing that I think is better left to the professionals. I don't know how to tell a story like this. And if you ever look at the writing credits, the behind the scenes on Pixar movies or DreamWorks movies, there might be one credited writer, but really like 15 people at minimum work on these movies from a story point of view, not just one guy in a room. Like, those movies are not written that way. So as a first step, as a selling script, I'm very proud of Almost Pets. It'll be up on the blog, just like all the other ones. It's very fun, very cute. It's got a lot of animal jokes, a lot of pop culture jokes. I think there's a musical number in the middle of the movie. There's some pathos to it. There's some very sad, owner who got rid of their, I think I might have done the thing where like a kitten was adopted by an older lady and spent her whole life with that lady, and that lady ended up dying. So now this older cat has to go back to the pet store and nobody wants her anymore because she's old. Things like that. Very sad, but very sweet as well. Everybody gets a happy ending, and I very much left the door open for sequels, or my idea actually, if I had my druthers, if I could do whatever I wanted, would be to sell this to Disney and or Nickelodeon, one of those big studios. Disney, of course, is what I'd like the most. And have them, take my idea and make it as good as possible. I'd like to be involved in that process so I can learn how to make an animated film. And when the movie's done, I'd like them to make a TV show out of it, either on Netflix or on the Disney Channel or wherever, because it'd be such an easy and fun idea to turn into a TV show. What problem are we gonna solve this week? What new pet comes into the store? Maybe there's a snapping turtle who literally can't stop, like maybe his teeth won't stop chattering. Whatever. The idea of setting a TV show, an animated TV show in a pet store, where the idea of each episode is to get an animal adopted or whatever, seems like could be a very fun commercial idea. So this is the big $1 million idea. This is the one where I'm like, I want to make this and sell it and then get paid for the rest of my life on other people's work. Very lame to think that way, but what can I say? It's true. This is the commercial idea. Plus, the toys would sell themselves. I had none of those thoughts going in. I just really wanted to tell this story. A lot of the scripts I wrote around that time, still living with my mother, doing nothing, no friends. A lot of those scripts kind of deal with the loneliness factor and the idea of like, how come nobody wants me? That's a lot of, wishing I could be someplace else, wishing I could change my life, wishing this, that, and the other thing. A lot of the scripts I wrote around that time have those themes in it. So the reason I wanted to tell the Almost Pet story was because everybody deserves love. Like, that's the theme. So, and more than that, if you can help somebody, like helping someone else find love is more valuable than being loved yourself. Like, if I'm going to get a little arty on what I was trying to say with this movie. So check it out. It'll be on the blog at adolescentconceptions.com. Sorry, adolescentconceptions.wordpress.com, and I'll link it in the description and in the annotations, wherever I'm going to put them. And tomorrow I'll be back to talk about Jersey Girl, and this week's Dear Kevin is fairly simple as well. Dear Kevin Smith, hello, sir. I hope you're watching the series. If this is your first episode, welcome. I know I just talked about myself. Generally, Mr. Kevin Smith, I talk about you and your films and your work and what they've meant to me. I'm also trying to get a career here, so I alternate back and forth talking about my other scripts as well. I mentioned in one of my other videos, Asinine, another screenplay I wrote, that I wrote a part for you in that movie, and I said that I've done that many times since. This is one of those times, sir. In addition to having a couple of cichlid fish who are fighting fish, you couldn't put them together in the same tank because they'd fight all the time. I named those characters Brian and Jeff, and in my head I had them cast as Brian O'Halloran or Jeff Anderson. So there's a bit of a Clerks reference in there, the idea of they're best friends, they just can't share the same tank without wanting to kill each other. That's something that I got from you. In addition to that, there are any number of characters in this movie that I was thinking of you for. Anytime somebody makes a slightly off-color joke, even for a kid's film, I was thinking of you. The opening scene, honestly, I think you'd be wonderful in. The opening scene is a little boy who runs up to a pet store window, and he looks in with his nose pressed to the glass, and oh my god, look at all the cute animals, and the camera pans down showing like puppies doing this and kittens doing over here and snakes or whatever else, and then it lands on a couple of mice who are really fat, chubby, overweight mice, and they're not running on their wheel, they're not cutely playing around, they're literally just sitting there eating, and they're looking out the window like, hey kid, do you want to buy us? And the kid's like, ugh, what's wrong with those mice? And the mother's like, come on, we'll go inside and we'll find you something better, you don't want those fat mice. And then we have our first animals talking scene with those mice saying, what the fuck? Like, how come we don't deserve love? Like, just because we don't want to run on a fucking wheel like a couple of sheep. They don't swear, of course, but, the only thing kids want are stupid mice who run in circles all day long going nowhere. We have thoughts and ambition. We have dreams. That's why we don't waste time running on that wheel. Also, hand over the food pellet, man. You'd be fantastic in one of those roles. Honestly, this script is jam-packed full of characters that any of them that you would enjoy playing, I'd be happy to cast you in if I was in control. Also, I'm pretty sure that the main character in this movie, the main human character, the guy who runs the pet store, I believe I had Jason Lee in mind for it. I might have even named the character Jason or Lee. Can't remember now, it's been so long since I read it. But you are all over this screenplay, sir. All of your influence, from Clerks to Chasing Amy to Mallrats, all the heart that your movies have is very much in this script. So, my Dear Kevin for this week is very simply, if you want to make an animated film and you don't feel like thinking of your own, there's one here for you. Also, someday if I get it made, maybe you'd like to be in it somehow, some way. You've done voiceover before. I think in the Superman movie and the Turtles movie. I think you were in a movie called Dougal, which I didn't see, but I will at some point because I'm doing a video series about you. In any case, there it is. The other side of things is, I've heard you tell stories about your kid, Harley, who back when, she's like a teenager now, but back when she was a kid, I've heard you tell some very sweet stories about her. And I think I'd be very interested, speaking of like artists stretching a little bit, I'd be interested in seeing your take on a children's film or a children's book, or something that's, designed not for your core audience, but for, kids. Because I know you've got a huge heart, and obviously you love your kid, and I'm sure you must have made up stories for her, although don't do an M. Night Shyamalan Lady in the Water thing. But just, I'd be curious to see you do a children's book, which I think I've heard you mention at some point on a Smodcast, or maybe a Plus One, you and Jen were talking about it. I believe you've mentioned that you have a children's book in you, so I'd like to see you stretch your wings a little bit and write something for kids, much the same way I did. So please do that, and please read Asinine and Fathers and Sons and Almost Pets, the screenplay about the pet store that you could be in. And yeah, sincerely, George. So that's it for today. Yet another screenplay I've written. I'd completely forgotten about it. I'd forgotten which order they came in. I knew whenever I think about my scripts, I always remember Almost Pets, but I'd forgotten which order I wrote it in. So sorry about that. It'll be up on the blog. And I'll see you tomorrow with Jersey Girl, and we continue on the path of Kevin Smith awesomeness. So thank you for watching, and I have a job interview later today. I'm going to go check out this meadery down the road and see if maybe I can get a job there instead of at Circle K. So fingers crossed for that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.